Uh, so it was around 2 years ago. I was dating this girl, and we both just were getting out of like our school, and we were starting to just like kind of continue on with our life. She decided to move to the U.S. because we both lived in Stockholm, and I still do, as of now.
Of course, when I got with him, I thought he was great. But I rushed into the relationship. As it turns out, he had a habit of just like, he would just disappear, no warning for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and he wouldn't like. And then when he came back, he'd give me some dumb excuse as to why he was gone for so long, and he did this routinely. He just wouldn't reply to any of my calls or messages, which was important, like for him to be doing that, for him to be replying to my calls and my messages, considering we were in a long distance relationship.
So one time I go to Korea and I meet this like indie pop star singer. His name is Oohyo. It's like Oohyo. We like meet on the plane and we go back to Tokyo and we're just hanging out. And then it's cool because I became like a computer programmer, but I've always wanted to like do music. But then I put that aside. Then this girl like introduces me to like her music and just like what it's like to be like an indie pop star, all this stuff. So I'm like all excited to get to know her or whatever.
I met someone on an online game and talked for a few years, but never got into a relationship because we were too young. But like 3-ish years later, started dating, but he lived in a different state, so it was long distance, and that was my first time doing long distance. So I was only probably like 16, so I was very immature about long distance. So it was a very on and off relationship. Well, both of us broke up with each other a lot. One time when we break up, something happened. I don't know what it was, but out of nowhere, he snapped and he threatened to send them to my whole family and friends, and he threatened to ruin my life because I broke up with him.
After about a year went by, she came back to Stockholm to come visit, and I was just thinking it'd be like a great thing. She was like gonna bring her family. We were all just gonna hang out, but around like a few hours into like us picking them up at the airport, she was just being incredibly quiet, and like she wasn't just acting the way she normally was. So I was like just trying to like be there and just be like, hey, what's going on? And she just wouldn't talk to me. She just wouldn't tell me anything. And then I later found out from a friend of mine that she was cheating on me, which I guess with her being us not seeing each other, it happens, but like it made me feel really bad that just she wouldn't even talk to me about it or just tell me.
I live in the U.S. He lives all the way in fucking England, and but like I was 14, stupid back then. So I put up with it. There was this one particular time where he had been gone longer than 2 weeks. He had been gone like 5 weeks. I ended up checking his Facebook. To like, because I figured if something bad had happened to him, he'd have relatives and shit posting on his timeline talking about it. And I go to his timeline, and just like a few days before I checked his timeline, I find that apparently he'd been posting fucking selfies of himself on fucking Facebook while he was ignoring me, ignoring all my messages and calls and shit. And yeah, that was basically how I figured out that he didn't actually give a shit about me.
We hang out a couple more times, and like one time in Korea. Then I come back home, and then kind of don't want her to like forget about me. Like I'm not just some dude that like bought dinner or whatever. Like we hung out, but I wanted to show you that I could make music. So I like wrote a song, like send it to her, and then Oohyo like shares it with all her fans and whatnot on Instagram. So then I start getting people from Korea listening to my music, and I kind of just take that opportunity. And I don't know, maybe it was like too much because she really liked it and was into the song enough to share it. Then I kept sending her more just to like, I appreciate being your new friend, whatever, just hanging out with you. But like, now that these people are listening to my music, like maybe I can build an audience off of this. But then I slowly was trading like the music exposure, just making all these songs for like a friendship, because I guess she started thinking like, oh, okay, this guy's like kind of odd, he keeps sending me songs and like it's just too much.
I ignored it for a while, but I checked my Kik randomly about a month later with him calling me things like cum dumpster, saying that the next guy I sleep with, he'll have to focus on the less disgusting parts of my body because I'm so disgusting. He begged me to kill myself every day that whole month. And he didn't think I was gonna find those because I never used Kik anymore, but that didn't happen because I found them. And me, being the dumb young girl I was, I took him back very stupidly. And that cycle happened a few times, including him going onto YouTube, destroying stuff I gave him in front of everyone on YouTube. He would call me out and call me things like a whore and stuff on YouTube.
And then I tried to like not say too much. I tried not to even bring it up because I just wanted to see what would happen for the rest of the time she was there. But then like she noticed that, or like her parents began to notice that she just was acting really different, and they put it on me as like if it was something I did. But then I like tried to tell them what happened and they just wouldn't believe me, and it just became like a huge fight between all of us, and then it just resulted in us just not talking anymore. But like, I don't know, I guess just like the takeaway from it is that just from something that we were just close for that long, it's kind of crazy how like people will just change and just manipulate you that quickly and just like not even give you a way of telling you. They just go out and do it, and it sucks when you find out the hard way by yourself and not from them directly.
And that obviously changed my perception of him. And I dumped his ass. I was 14 when I started dating him. He was 21. Yeah.
Even friends have boundaries, this kind of thing, but I was just sending music. I wasn't like being creepy about it. I don't know. So like, I didn't want her to forget about me, so I made music, but I ended up making her forget about me because I was sending her like the songs, and yeah, the end. But now that I went to Korea one more time, like recently, right before coronavirus, and I was saying like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm gonna be there again. Like, no, I'm too busy. Plus, I'm gonna delete Line Messenger soon. Pretty much like, I'm gonna like cut off contact with you. So then, I still played my shows and I still made songs, but then I started forgetting why I did it. Cause it was like she started, this interest that I had back again, and I was going to Asia to play shows, but we just never talked since.
And about a year later, after more of that on and off abuse, because I grew up with an abusive father, so I never really knew what a normal relationship was, because I never had one. All of the men I ever dated abused me. But he made some fake account to pretend to be someone else to try to talk to me, because he made about 8 Facebook accounts to try to talk to me. He made fake dating accounts of me to try to get people to come to my house to hurt me. He ended up sending a lot of my friends my nudes after I went to online school because of that stuff. He threatened to come to my house to kill me or hurt me. And stuff like that happened, but he made a fake account, and I ended up talking to that person thinking they were someone else, but they were him, and they proceeded to take my nudes, make it their profile picture on their social media. Social media didn't do anything about it, so that was fun, but I couldn't tell my mom about it because I was too young, and if she found out I did that stuff, I would have gotten in trouble, so I basically couldn't do anything about it.
It was around 2 years ago when the incident happened, but then we knew each other well before that. It was around like 4 to 5 years because we were in the same school in Stockholm. We were just seeing each other a lot, and like our families were really close, so it was something that just lasted for a while. None of us really talk anymore, like from their family side. Like it's pretty much after that happened, it just like we kind of like grew apart. I think it's just because my parents just felt like it didn't seem right, and after the incident happened, their parents did kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say they hated me, it's just they just couldn't feel comfortable just being around me and my parents, so I understood why they decided not to talk to them.
So I had to put up with it for about 4 years. So that was very terrifying. And the scariest part was he knew everything about me, given that I have been sexually abused since I was 5 years old. And like I said, I have been abused by my father. And I just think it's really cruel that when people know that stuff about you, they just throw it out the window like it doesn't even matter, and they just proceed to do the same exact stuff that they know you've been through. So ever since that, I've just never been able to really trust men very much, because I don't really know what a normal relationship with a man is. Because, I mean, I literally have physical scars on my body to prove that I've been abused by men, so it's just very terrifying when that stuff happens. So I just really hope that when people are going online to be in relationships and stuff, that you really are careful with the things you send, because that guy also proceeded to sneak pictures of me through Skype and share them with people. So even if you're just on video, you never know if they're sneaking pictures or anything of you. It's really hard to trust people on the internet, so. And I would also give advice that even if you're young and you're scared that your parents are going to be mad at you for doing that stuff, you should still tell them, because you deserve justice for stuff like that happening to you.
I think